All right, so let's go through a basic Pythagorean theorem here. So this is going to be C because it's the hypotenuse, and this is going to be A and B, or A and B. A and B don't matter. C is the one that has to be very important and goes by itself. So everything's going to get squared. All right, so then this becomes 64, this becomes 16, and then you're going to get, when you add these together, you're going to get 80, and then this is going to be the square root of 80 equals x squared. I mean x by itself, sorry about that. Because you square root this side, square root that side, these cancel, and then this gets left like that. And then you could leave the answer like this, or type in the square root of 80 in your calculator, and you'll get your answer. The next one here is how to figure out the length of A to B. So to figure out the length of A to B, you're going to need AC. So the trick here is you're going to do Pythagorean's theorem 2 times. So the first time is with these bottom numbers here. So we're going to use the 4 and the 5, and that's going to give us an answer. So it's going to be 16 plus 25. That's going to be 41 equals x squared. So our final answer there is the square root of 41. And that's going to be the length from A to C. So we're going to need that. We're going to use that again right here. And then we're going to use the one number we haven't used yet. And then we're going to and that'll give us our actual final answer. So these cancel. That'll make 41. That'll make 36. And this is C squared. So that's 77 equals C squared. And then your final answer is the square root of 77. So that's the distance between A and B, square root of 77. So you can press the button and you figure out how much that is. All right, so here we're going to figure out the distance from A to B. Now, on the tests and stuff, you'll probably have like an actual grid that you can count here, and then an actual grid here. So we could count how to get to A and B. I'm going to need 2 numbers. You're going to square them, and then your final step is going to be square root them. So almost the Pythagorean theorem exactly. And that'll give us the distance from A to B. So we're going to do A. So how far is A to B? So we go 1, 2, 3. So this length here is 3, and then the length here is 2. So it's going to be 2. So this becomes 9, 4, then it becomes 13, and you're done. This is between A and B. Square root of 13. Now this one is going to be the distance from this point to that point. Now it's the same thing we're doing here, but we have to figure out the 2 numbers. Remember, we need these 2 numbers. We're going to square them and then square root them. So how far is 2 from 3? Well, it's just 1. How far is negative 2 from 4? That's going to make 6. So that's going to be 1, 36, square root. So the square root of 37 is our final answer here. Okay, well, it seems as though I've done the whole thing off camera. So I figured out how far 2 was from 3. That gave us the 1. How far negative 2 is from 4. That gave us the 6. And then we square both. And then we add them up and we leave it in the square root. Can you believe it? I did that whole thing off camera. Okay, so next one. This one is, do these 3 sides make a triangle? Yes or no? So you pick 2 sides. I'm just going to pick the first 2 every time because it doesn't matter which 2. So I'm just going to pick the first 2 every time. We're going to add them and subtract them. Keep it positive and just figure out if this one fits in between these 2, the 2 numbers we find. So if I subtract these, I'm going to get a positive 1. If I add them, I'm going to get a 7. Is 6 in between these two numbers? The answer is yes. So this is a yes. 6 is in between 1 and 7. This one's 7 and 2. If I subtract them, I'm going to get a 5. If I add them, I'm going to get a 9. Is the number 5 in between 5 and 9? It is not. It's on 5, but it's not in between 5 and 9. So this is a no. What about 4, 6, and 1? So 4 and 6, if I subtract them, I'll get a 2. If I add them, I'll get a 10. Is the number 1 in between 2 and 10? No. These sides will not make a triangle. They won't connect together. So this one, 1 and 12, if I subtract them, I'll get 11. If I add them, I'll get 13. Does 8 fit in between here? That's also going to be a no. And that's it. Good luck.